bee, that's a good sign. If there's a bee, there's pollen. Although it seems more interested in me than anything at the moment. These are not real flowers, bee. These are not real flowers. Big trellises at the back of the plot, which are really useful. Hello, welcome back. I'm Claire. This is all about my first year and my allotment. So I'm documenting the highs, the lows and everything in between. This first year is really all about just understanding the plot, because although I've grown at home myself for quite a few years, this is all new in terms of the soil, the shade, the pests. You know, they're all ever so slightly different to my home garden. So by understanding the plot and then trying to get as much as I can out of it this year, whatever I get will be a positive. So if that sounds like something you're interested, then join me as I do some more jobs on the allotment today. Back of the plot is looking quite overgrown. I did trim it, it was probably a couple of weeks ago now actually, so needs another good trim. So if we have a look at the bit behind the peas here, you can see it's actually growing through to the peas. So I'm going to trim all that back. That's one of the first things that I'm going to do today. These big trellises at the back of the plot, which are really useful. So the concertina down, so you can have them as big or as small as you like. So I'm thinking I should find somewhere to put these, maybe at the front of the plot. So I've got some more fruit bushes or the side. Not sure. Let's have a look. Decided to put one of the trellises at the front of the plot where I've got these small fruit bushes, just to keep it neat and in check. I think it looks quite nice. So these bushes, let's have a look. These are some kind of berry, so I think I'll ID those in a minute. I think I've got more raspberries over here. There we go. The others I'm going to check now. Just ID'd this plant and it's red currants. There's about 3 of those here at the front, so plenty of red currants coming. I'll put the other trellis at the other side of the red currants, but I've not secured that in, and the reason being is because these weeds are going to grow back in the middle, so I want to be able to get it off quite easily. But for now it's fine where it is. When you first take on allotment, you might find that a lot, if not all, of your allotment is overgrown like this. So I was quite lucky in that most of mine was raised beds that had already been put in and it was quite well looked after. So this has all just happened over the last few months, as does in spring, summer. The weeds have just taken over. But what I'd recommend is, if you do have to deal with something like this and you don't need to plant in it straight away, so this area here, I probably won't get to planting this year. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to trim it and then I'm going to cover it. So let's do that now. Next, you're going to want to cover it like I did this bed. So this is another bed that's quite overgrown that I probably won't get to this year. So I've used a mixture of some black tarpaulin that I had on the allotment already and some cardboard that I bought. Ideally I would use cardboard for it all, but I didn't have enough, so I've used a bit of both. Main thing is that it's covered, so the weeds don't get the light, so they can't come back. So eventually that will kill off the weeds. If you're using cardboard, you can then put compost straight onto the cardboard and you can start planting straight away. If you're using the tarpaulin, then you'll need to take that off, pull up anything that's left, and then put your compost down. This area here I've let grow wild, and I did actually plant some wildflowers a few months ago now, but as you can see it has gone a bit crazy. Some things I can see are definitely weeds, as in I don't want them to be there, and I've got other areas that are like completely wilded. So I don't need this to be completely wild. I would like to try and get some wildflowers. So I planted some cornflower and some poppies that I grew at home from seed. But then things like this, you see, this is a weed. You can tell a weed because there's a lot of the same thing all in one place. So I'll give it a bit of a clear out, and then maybe I'll get some more wild seeds down as well at some point. Oh, there's a bee. That's a good sign. If there's a bee, there's pollen. Although it seems more interested in me than anything at the moment. These are not real flowers, bee. These are not real flowers. Right, okay, let's see. Just take some, and then maybe it'll help encourage some of the others to come through. Let's do that. Thought now would be a good time to do a full plot tour. So this is entering the plot, and this is at the front where I've put the trellises today. And there's my sign, Claire's Allotment. And then I've got all the raised beds here. And to the side is where I've got my flowers, stroke herbs. And there's an apple tree there as well. Behind this is the fruit cage, which I'll show you later. And here's all the raised beds, most of which have got crops in now. So what we've got here is the parsnips. So they're starting to come through. They took ages to come through, absolutely ages. And I planted again and I thought I'd lost them. And under here is the beetroot. Beetroot's doing okay, as you can see. So I'll space the beetroot out a bit, and I've covered it up, trying to cover up as much as I can at the moment. This here is in a previous video. This is the squash and the sweet corn. So I've got two types of squash in here now, and then I've got my sweet corn at various different stages, and I've also got a few beans in there as well. So again, they're all netted up. You can see right inside there. So they're all netted up. I'm going to keep an eye on those and then probably increase the netting. Under there, the carrots, they're looking okay at the moment, and also some sprouts. And then over here, we've got the green beans, the dwarf beans, and also the tomatoes. I've got a lovely nasturtium here that's starting to come up. It's not flowered yet, but it's starting. There's a few flowers at the front, marigolds. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tomatoes we've got at the moment. And we've got a mixture of beans. We've got yin yang beans. Some have been eaten, as you can see there. Some are holding on. And then these here are dwarf beans, so they're not getting very high, but that's fine. I do have some beans growing. And then towards the back, here I've got like a mini fruit cage with a few raspberries in. And I cleared this out just last week, so you can see that in a previous video. So I cut it all back, that was quite overgrown. This bed here I've covered up today. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that this year, but at least the weeds aren't coming through. And then if we go over here, it's like the second half of the plot, if you like. And these are my potatoes. So this first bed is the main crop. And then I've got another bed back there that's fallow at the moment. And then the bit under the cage, which I've covered up today. And then over here, we've got some cabbage and some kohlrabi. Again, under the net. That seems to be doing okay at the moment. This other small one next to it, there's some garlic. It did have cauliflower. The cauliflower's been eaten. And then under this big netting here, I've got my broccoli. So I weeded that out the other day, so that's all nice and clear at the moment. The broccoli, if you can just see through the netting, broccoli is doing good at the moment. And touch wood, it's not being eaten because it's under the netting. And then behind this, I've got my peas. So a few of these are growing up nice and strong. Again, some of them have been munched. So I think it's because we've had quite a lot of wet weather. So a lot of things have been munched, but I'm just keep putting more in, covering things up and seeing how it goes. And this is right at the back of the plot now, which I've cleared out, and then back round in front of this mini fruit cage here, I've got the wildflowers. So that's part of where I'm just rewilding. And this is the main fruit cage that I've got. So it has got overgrown again. So this is the next job that I'm going to tackle. What I've got in here is a few strawberries that I planted myself. You can see here, a few strawberries coming through. As you can see, the floor, all the weeds have come back. I did clear them out a few months ago, they've all come back. So there's the strawberry, not ready yet. You can see all the nettles as well, so this all needs clearing out. And then I've got a raspberry bush here at the back. Lots of raspberry bushes. The raspberries are starting to come through now, which is great. And then over here I've got some more strawberries, some more raspberries, and some more nettles, and some more weeds, and some more raspberries. Bit of a theme here. So once I get this cleared out, I'll really be able to see what I've got in terms of the raspberries. And hopefully I'll be able to stake them up a bit more as well if I need to, so I can actually get at them. And you can see here I've got some that are ripe already, which is great. And then background to the entrance of the fruit bush. This here is what I think is blackberry. But we can see these are starting to come through now. So as soon as they start changing colour, I'll be able to know for sure. And then this is the door back out. And that's the full plot tour. Hello and welcome back to the allotment. Today's all going to be about maintenance because I've bought myself a new combi drill. And I'm going to attempt to fix and paint the bench that I've been meaning to do for ages, and just a few other little jobs around the allotment, as well as checking on the crops and anything else that needs doing. So let's get to it. This is the bench. Look, this bit's coming off. This is totally off. That's come off. Yeah, so very old, very rickety. Let's have a look. Do. Here it is, first coat all done. So I'm really pleased with how it's looking. It's definitely going to need another coat though, but it looks so much nicer. Only problem is I can't sit down and have a rest because the paint's drying, so never mind, let's crack on.